Hey, everyone. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ron, aka Ron the Artist, coming to you live. And welcome to Ron's Recap. I'm here today to recap and review the TV show Snowfall on FX, Season 5, Episode 9, titled Departures. It was a good episode. It was a very good, juicy episode. Very good, juicy episode. I can't wait to see the season finale next week. I cannot wait to see the season finale next week because it's so dope. So dope. The show is dope. It's real and organic. And I'll get to talking about it more, especially at the end. I'll say what I really want to say because I don't want to spoil it or give you guys any spoilers before I, talk about the recap, the review. But it was a good episode. And I'm impressed by the actors. I'm just going to say that. Okay, so let's get into it. The episode started with a flashback with Kane chopping it up with his boys, and then gunshots went off. That was like a moment off rip. It was Buckley. He was sitting on a bench. The next thing was Buckley sitting on a bench smoking a cigarette with regret written all over his face until he got approached by a detective asking to be informed of what happened at this crime scene. Ooh. Excuse me, guys. Allergy season. Horrible. But okay, back to it. Buckley got approached by a detective asking, to be informed of what happened at this crime scene or whatever. So Buckley got into it. This scene was real. Buckley started to tell the story, and the flashbacks of the scene in actual reality, started to follow. It began with him and another officer pulling up instantly, walking up on Kane and his crew, shooting at them outside this bar, killing innocent people from his crew. Meanwhile, Kane ran into the bar where they were standing in front of and zooming out of the back door of the bar. But Buckley was on his tail and closed in on him until his partner got on the walkie-talkie telling him to stand down because one of his partners was actually down. His partner was actually down. And that's what actually happened. But he told the detective otherwise. All lies. Stuff like they got a call about, drugs and narcotics and they, followed up on it and instantly Kane and his crew started shooting at them. So they retaliated. No, Buckley, aka Bo, and his partner instantly got out of the car, shooting, killing. Ultimately after that moment, Buckley, turned around to see his officer friend, which was his partner, laying on the ground, shot dead. Repercussions. And that was just crazy. He was closing in on Kane, he again was on Kane's tail. On Kane's tail, shot him in the back, and literally was about to kill him dead, until he yelled on his walkie, man down, stand down. Somebody's dead. And repercussions for his actions. On the contrary, Kane was still alive, barely hanging on, but he was still alive and being rushed to the hospital. And all I could think at that moment was like, ooh-wee, this one is going to haunt Louis for a while. And I was like, I see it coming, Louis done put this hit out and it backfired. It backfired all the way, and now people are about to get in trouble. So the next scene was of Franklin in bed, sulking, just laying there. We've all had them days in bed. Meanwhile, Leon was on top of a building, drinking a beer or something as he watched the sunset or the sunrise. Franklin's phone started to ring. He didn't want to answer, but he did, and told whomever to send him up. It was Leon coming to visit. Since Franklin wasn't answering his pager, he came by to fill Franklin in on the news about Kane and his people, and about the fact that Louie was the one to put the hit out when she told him she wouldn't. Franklin heard him, and he wasn't really responsive to it. Due to not wanting to go to war with Louie and Jerome, and for the sake of his unborn baby, he just doesn't want any more chaos. He told Leon to do what he wanted to do what he had to do, but he didn't want to be a part of it. Leon didn't like that, and he left his apartment in disappointment. And also, I guess the book that he gave Franklin to read was sitting on the counter that apparently Franklin never opened. So the next scene was of Louie and Jerome in bed at a hotel the day afterwards, the day after the wedding. All of this was the day after the wedding, literally. They were reminiscing about the wedding and not really being that mad about Scully lacing the damn chocolate with LSD. It was a wedding full of chocolate with LSD. Everybody high off it. And they also vaguely discuss a word probably being out about Kane, but not really caring about the world right now due to being in a fresh honeymoon stage. They were just happy and lovey and dovey and laying in bed and just caressing and loving on each other again, freshly married. Until Louie's pager started going off. Jerome then agreed to extend their stay at the hotel before they offset it on the actual honeymoon. And Louie happily agreed. But they knew it was time to get out of bed. They knew it was time to get out of bed as much as they wanted to stay in that moment. They knew stuff was going down. And they knew that Buckley had probably did what he needed to do already. And word was already out on the street and stuff needed to be addressed. Next scene was of Buckley in his boss's office, giving a statement about what happened. And his boss didn't sound too convinced of his story, while the detective of that case was sitting in the back. The next moment, a woman came in ready to draw blood from Buckley, unexpectedly. Buckley was not for that. His boss then lets him know that he's suspending him and then turning his badge due to all this madness. Till, an investigation is over and he finds out what's what. He's like, an officer was dead unexpectedly. I need to know why. And what really happened. And until then, I need some blood from you. Ooh, and we already know that man is high as a kite. Been high, stay high. So Buckley refused it at first until his boss told him charges will be pressed on him if he refused. And that he told him, if you didn't do it, if you refused, charges will be pressed and you will be humiliated. You will be humiliated on top of that. So give up your badge and your gun and do it peacefully. And he did. Next up, Franklin talking to Veronique about this Kane situation. Veronique doesn't think Louie was wrong for her actions and, putting that hit out on Kane. But Franklin somewhat agrees, thinking it was the right thing, but the wrong way. And I agree. Yeah, you could put your head out on this man, but it was the wrong way. It was a lot to follow up behind that, and they told her and Jerome that. But she still persisted and wanted to go after it. Franklin then asked Veronique to leave town with him. He wanted to go clear his head. And she was like, all right, well, what do you got in mind? And went to the next scene. The next scene was of Sissy, Franklin's mom, meeting Ruben again. Whoever this man is, I do not trust this man, Ruben. This man, Ruben, is something just off. Something off, and I don't really trust him at all. So she met him this time in nature, near rocks and land with a city view. Ruben changed his appearance a little, cutting his chin hairs off for a little cover, And he instantly went in on Sissy due to her interaction at the wedding. since he claimed it was due to her being intoxicated, and he proceeded to drill her about getting the info he requested, or the CIA will kill Franklin, he said. He keeps assuring her that he's there to help her. He's only here to help her and save Franklin. But again, I'm not convinced of that, though. He is too persistent on getting bank accounts, international accounts, and all this and that info for what? Like, all just to kill Teddy? That really doesn't have much to do with Teddy, but okay. He told her to leave all of her reservations behind, or he won't help her. And she really wants Teddy done and out that bad, so I'm assuming she's going to give him what he asked for. Sad, sad, sad. So, on to the next scene. Javi got a visit from Teddy and that Latin crazy chick friend that he got. Like, as he said, old acquaintance, old friend, now new acquaintance. Teddy, Reed, Thomas, whoever. Theodore, whoever. That man really has so many names. Like, again, who is he? Who is he? Who is he? Who is he? So apparently Teddy wants a huge order of guns. He wants to order in preparation for a war. And he seems extremely confident about winning it as well. He requested the order in 60 days. Like, I need this to be triple the guns that you've ever gave me, and I need you to really follow through on it. And he's confident about winning this war. And I'm just like, okay, we'll see. What type of war do you got? Frankly, threatened to kill him last episode, so maybe he's gearing up for that, and we'll see where that goes. Next up was Leon. Leon made a visit to the hospital to check on Kane. Kane was still unconscious, in a coma, and apparently he'll never walk again, as the doctor told him. According to this guy Leon spoke with, which I'm not sure who that guy Leon spoke with, I'm assuming he was some type of family member of Kane. He inquired about what truly happened to Kane. He inquired about what truly happened to Kane. He was like, I'm going to just assume that this was some crazy stuff that happened with police being police, but is there something that I really need to know about the situation? And before Leon could give an answer, the show went to commercial. And I was just left in suspense like, oh my God. Leon, what did you tell him? What did you tell him? What did you tell him? So when the commercial came back, Buckley, he went to visit his ex-wife and kids. Crying kids at that. Crying kids in the background, just going in. So he went to go see, he was trying to go see his kids. And I'm assuming he went to also vent to her about what was going on. She was refusing to let him see the kids after the news he broke to her about his job. And she could tell that he was high off of coke. She's like, no, you're not in the shape to go see your kids. I could tell I'm not for it. So this is not really happening. And he demanded to see his kids in a threatening manner, but she squashed that energy quickly. With the sticky situation he was already in, she used it as leverage, forcing him out of her house. Like, get the hell out of my house. Don't let me keep asking you that. And off he went. So the next thing was of Louis. Louis went to some type of safe with a lot of money to get some money. While still a lot of money remained, and I'm talking about stacks of money, like a shelf just full of stacks of money. And she grabbed probably about a good 6, 7 of them doggone stacks, maybe 8 or 9, and put them in a duffel bag and dipped. I'm assuming it was, in her club. The safe was in her club because she got a page on her beeper at that moment. And then the next moment, Leon was making his way down the hall with her security. As Leon wasted no time inquiring about why she put the hit out on Kane, she stood her ground. She stood her ground in reasoning due to him trying to kill them all, And she referred it to being a black woman. She was like, you think it's hard being a black man? Well, it's even harder being a black woman. And I can't wait around for somebody to come and try to kill me again by them getting too close. So, damn right I put the hit out on them. And Leon didn't agree with her decision at all. He let her know that once Kane's people figure it out, because he didn't tell him, that he hopes she's ready for them. because his people aren't going to take that. They aren't going to take that news lightly, and they're not going to take that heat lightly. And he left her with that to ponder on, and I'm sure she didn't consider that. Clearly, Cain got people around him and weapons, and Cain got people. That's about it. Louis probably didn't consider the repercussions of getting Cain taken out. And if Cain is going to live to see another day, which it looks like he's going to, but just in a wheelchair, stuff is about to get real. Stuff is about to get real. So next up, Franklin and Veronique. You know, they were in the air on the airplane, flown by Franklin. He really loves airplanes. Like, he really loves airplanes. He really loves airplanes. Maybe he needs to pursue that a bit more. Just get away from the life and just pursue flying in airplanes and just get away. Because this life is draining and just toxic. But they were on their way flying, you know, to an island of the sort, it looked like, or it appeared. You know, on the beach, they went first. Franklin told her everything about him, or at least the deep stuff, or the major stuff about him that she may not know about him killing people, destroying lives, etc., etc. She then told him about her past and with her mother, while stealing and walking away from dead bodies and XYZ. And even though he didn't think it compared, she assured him that she already knew, and she wanted him to succeed on his promise of getting out of the life, as he feared he may not be able to. And she's like, you need to make sure that you're going to get out of this life. And I would hope he would be able to get out of it too, considering if you want to live, to talk about this life with your child. Because the way stuff is going now, it's real. So next up, the scene of Teddy and Gustavo meeting up with Louis and her guard for a drop in a graveyard. They really be meeting at random spots. And I guess, you know, that's good, so nobody can trace you. But in a graveyard, nobody will really think of that. So smart, you know. They met up in a graveyard. Teddy let her know that if it isn't Jerome coming with her for her drops, he doesn't want to see anyone, and to thank Franklin for that. And on the way out, he asked her to tell him the next time he talks to Franklin, and when they're leaving for their honeymoon, as Louis departed. Teddy then turned to Gustavo and asked him to drive. Meanwhile, Gustavo was in thought, as Gustavo questioned Teddy on why he's selling to two different members of the family, of the same family. And the way his expression looked and everything, Gustavo is onto him some way, and just like, Gustavo doesn't trust him. I can see that. He doesn't like the way that Teddy is moving, and he probably wants to stop him somehow. Gustavo clearly doesn't like the way Teddy is moving, especially knowing a bit about Franklin and how he truly is and what he's truly about. And I feel like Gustavo, a huge plot twist, Gustavo being the one to actually take Teddy out. Excuse me, guys. But a huge plot twist will be Gustavo taking Teddy out, considering he's the closest to him right now. Him and that crazy Latin chick. We'll see what happens. The next scene was Buckley pulling up somewhere, already sniffing his Thornton. Buckley pulling up somewhere late night, already sniffing his Thornton, high as a damn kite, trying to get a 20. But his request was denied at first. That's some young kids, some young thugs, or young guys, whatever you want to call them, young gangsters. His request was denied at first until he stuck someone up at gunpoint. The guy that denied him, he was like, all right, I was going to pay for it, but now y'all better give me this stuff. Put a gun in the back of his head, all for a rock. He wanted a rock that bad. Just to take it. You know, if you ever got to get to a point where you got to rob somebody for some coke, it's bad. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad. That's when you're at a point where it's no longer in your grasp. It's no longer in your grasp, and I've never personally done it, but excuse me again, guys. I don't know what's going on. Dry throat, I don't know what. But if you ever get to a point where you gotta rob someone and you gotta steal and get angry about not having your fix, it's a problem. And it should be addressed. That's when I feel like at that point it's over. You're in way too deep. It's not coming back. You're not coming back from it. So the next scene was of Wanda and Leon having a convo, discussing what Leon had asked her at the wedding, which was to travel to Africa with him. He said the offer still stands. Yeah, he was talking crazy at the wedding, but it still stands. He wants her, and she still wants him as well, clearly. But she's scared after everything she's been through and kicking drugs and, recovering, etc., etc. And the moment ended in a heartfelt hug, and she agreed to go with him. She's like, I don't have no money saved. I don't have a passport. He's like, I can get you that passport in 24 hours. I checked, and I got enough money for the both of us, so you ain't got to worry about nothing. She agreed, pretty much. She loves him. He loves her, and hopefully they go and figure things out. The next scene was of Jerome and Louie having a convo, over music at first, about possibly taking out Buckley at their club. Until they got a knock on the door, letting them know that they had a visitor. Like, he's here. I'm thinking it was Buckley, but it was Franklin. He came to apologize and assure that what they did to Kane was best for them, and he understood. But that didn't last long, as she told him that she's been going behind his back to buy from Teddy directly and used Franklin's idea to sell and expand their business. Foul. That was foul. No. It was really one thing, like, she could have went to a different buyer. She could have went to a different buyer and made business elsewhere if she wanted to depart away from Franklin completely. But to go to his buyer and behind his back, at least not even discussing it with him or whatever, because he would have talked her out of it, and already done did a drop, and was going to just pretty much part with him, and already had did the drop. Already did the drop and didn't even discuss nothing with him and just did it. Like, that was foul. And using his game plan that he spoke to them and shot to them to go into business with him. Used his expanded game plan. Foul. And she was like, they were trying to be fair and reasonable in exchange to giving him a single LA territory. Whatever, a single LA territory or whatever of his liking. Whichever of his choice. Again, trying to be reasonable, allegedly. Franklin wasn't for none of that. And he felt stabbed in the back, and he wished Louis good luck as he left in anger. And pretty much he's quitting the game. He was like, you know what, you wanted to be in front? You got it. And at that moment, I'm like, shit is about to get real. Shit is about to get real. I feel it, see it, and know it. So, yeah. Up next was the ultimate moment we've all been waiting for. I was waiting for, at least. Buckley meeting Louie after all the madness that was taking place. He'd been paging her all day. She'd been neglecting his pages, not responding, not getting an update about what's going on, and yeah. She already got an update from Leon, but he hadn't spoke to her about what's going on and gave her the information or the intel about what happened and how it happened. So, Buckley meeting her in the office after all the madness that had taken place. Unexpectedly waiting in her office for her, high as a kite and drunk. Drinking and high as a kite, and he took coke that was sitting on her desk as well. Poured it out like just gone. Sweating, eyes bloodshot red, like that type of high is dangerous, because that's what I feel like you no longer have control over your body or what you're to do or what you're to say or whatever the case may be, because you're that gone. You're just gone. But since Buckley didn't complete the job killing Kane, she didn't want to pay him this other half of the money. And she also didn't care that he was about to lose his job or the fact that another officer was killed in the midst, his partner. So he then spoke in a threatening tone to her. Excuse me, guys. Again. So he then spoke to her in a threatening, authoritative tone, due to the fact that she's due to practically everything and about to lose everything, and her not wanting to pay him out over this Kane situation. Crazy. Yep. At that moment, I thought that he was about ready to hit her or fight her or whatever. That was a plot twist. Louis then agreed to pay him double and put him on payroll and, still use his connections on the police force. That still makes him an asset. So she's like, I still need you. I still need you. So we'll see how that goes. The man don't want to lose his kids. The man about to lose everything but that. So we'll see how that goes. So, the next thing was of Franklin. The next thing was of Ruben. Ruben and another guy attempted to break into an office. And I didn't understand that at first because I'm not sure where they broke into. Was it Franklin's office? Or, I don't know. But they broke into an office. They broke into an office. Again, I'm assuming it's Franklin's. And they succeeded until Javi caught them trying to scramble through files, which resulted into Javi shooting one of the guys. And Ruben then rushed Javi. Before you know it, they were tussling over each other on the ground, both fighting for their lives. Javi lost the gun. And eventually Ruben broke glass as they both were trying to get to this glass bottle. Ruben broke the glass on Javi's head, knocking him out cold. I'm not sure what location that was. I think that might have been Franklin's office. But if that was Franklin's office, what was Javi doing there? I don't know. But that was a real situation. That was a real situation. So, that got crazy because Javi is knocked out. Ruben was caught. And that might have been in Franklin's office. So, what's going to happen now? Where are we going to go with this? And yeah, I'm just anxious to see what's that's going to go next with that. The next scene was Franklin meeting up with Teddy. And this was the last scene of the episode. Franklin meeting up with Teddy in a diner to discuss that phone call that they had in the previous episode about him wanting to kill him. Franklin told him that it was just because of the highness on LSD, in addition to hitting at the situation with the business relationship with Louis. Teddy claimed that it was just business, etc., etc. They then took a walk down memory lane of what their business relationship looked like over the years and the results of it, which led to Franklin ending their partnership due to betrayal, etc. And that was Franklin's way out of the game in general. He's like, this gotta end. He's like, well, just because I'm doing business with Louis doesn't mean it's gotta end, but he's like, yeah, we do. We've been down this road a lot, and it's just over. So that was his way out. He said he's done his duty. He's done, and surprisingly and reluctantly, Teddy shook his hand. He shook Franklin's hand on the resignation, but I'm like, that's too good to be true. I'm like, I know this is not over. We'll see what happens next. Teddy is not liking the fact that his prized possession just walked out on him after he already wants to screw him over, and after Franklin done threatened to kill him. Like, we'll see what happens. The acting of this is good. That was the last scene, by the way. That was where the episode ended. But I just gotta say, the main character who plays Franklin, I think his name, how you pronounce his name is Damson Idris, or Damson Idris. He's English. I love his acting. I'm always impressed by the British/English people. I'm always so impressed by them when they're able to turn off their accents. You know, Adele does that when she sings. But I feel like it's different when you actually act it out. And you're able to turn off your accent when you act. I'm always impressed by that. And on top of his acting is just strong and super believable from his mannerisms and the way he speaks and his expressions and all of that. And like, I just freaking love it. I love it. And it's just like, you couldn't tell me that Franklin, aka Damson, is not a good actor. You know, you cannot tell me that he's not a good actor. So it's just believable. I would have never thought that he was British, judging by off the Franklin role that he's playing. Not Idris Elba. This actor's name is Damson Idris. You gotta check it out. If you're not watching this show, Snowfall on FX, you gotta watch it because it's dope. Like, it's about the coke game in the 80s and maybe 70s, but it's just dope. It's just dope, and I love the show. And it's just dope. And it's like, it's suspenseful. And this show has lasted for 5 seasons since 2017. And I'm just sucked in at this point. And mind you, this is my first season. Coming in on this, and they've got renewed for a 6th season. And they just announced that it's not only going to be the 6th season, it's going to be the last season. And I'm just like, we need to get 15 episodes for that last season. This is 10 episodes in this season 5, with the season finale being next week. We need 15 episodes for the series finale, because this show is good, and I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen this next episode, because it's a lot. It's a lot. The preview showed Teddy possibly going after Franklin. You know, again, he's clearly not happy about Franklin resigning and quitting, so he's probably going to go after Franklin. Franklin's trying to get away from that. Somebody stole Franklin's money, all his money out of his accounts. Shit is just going haywire. Somebody's going to end up dead. Something's going to happen, and I know it and feel it. Also, I think Franklin pulled out a gun on Louis. Maybe he didn't pull out the gun on Louis, but he pulled out a gun on somebody due to betrayal. And I can't wait to see how it goes. I hope Franklin didn't pull out a gun on Louis and try to kill Louis, because that is his blood uncle's wife. We cannot do that. That is a problem. So again, I can't wait to see what happens next. Next week it is, guys. Next Wednesday. It is. So that's all I got for you guys. It's your boy Ron, aka Ron the Artist. If you're watching this with me right now, we're live on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, this has been pre-recorded and it's been taken from my Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, share, comment on this video. Let's talk about this recap review. Let's talk about the episode, your thoughts. Let's talk about it. If you're watching this on Instagram, let's talk about it. Follow me, like, share, comment. Let's talk about the recap review. It's a great episode. So again, next time it is, guys. Peace.